The science of relaxation forms a very important part of the Hatha yoga philosophy, and many of the yogis have devoted much care and study to this branch of the subject. At first glance, it may appear to the average reader that the idea of teaching people how to relax, how to rest, is ridiculous, as everyone should know how to perform this simple feat. And the average man is right, in part. Nature teaches us how to relax and to rest to perfection. The infant is a past master in the science. But as we have grown older, we have acquired many artificial habits and have allowed nature's original habits to lapse. And so at the present time, the people of the Western world may well accept from the yogis a little teaching along the lines of this subject. The average physician could give some very interesting testimony on the subject of the failure of the people to understand the first principles of relaxation. He knows that a large percentage of the nervous troubles of the people are due to ignorance of the subject of rest. Rest and relaxation are very different things from loafing and laziness. On the contrary, those who have mastered the science of relaxation are usually the most active and energetic kind of people, but they waste no energy. With them, every motion counts. Let us consider the question of relaxation and try to see just what it means. In order to better comprehend it, let us first consider its opposite, contraction. When we wish to contract the muscle in order that we may perform some action, we send an impulse from the brain to the muscle, an extra supply of prana being conveyed to it, and the muscle contracts. The prana travels over the motor nerves, reaches the muscle, and causes it to draw its ends together, and to thus exert a pull upon the limb or part which we wish to move, bringing it into action. If we wish to dip our pen into the inkwell, our desire manifests into action by our brain sending a current of prana to certain muscles in our arm, hand, and fingers, and the muscles contracting in turn carry our pen to the inkwell, dip it in, and bring it back to our paper. And so with every act of the body, conscious or unconscious. In the conscious act, the conscious faculties send the message to the instinctive mind, which immediately obeys the order by sending the current of prana to the desired part. In the unconscious movement, the instinctive mind does not wait for orders, but attends to the whole work itself, both the ordering and the exerting. But every action, conscious and unconscious, uses up a certain amount of prana, and if the amount so used is in excess of the amount which the system has been in the habit of storing, the result is that one becomes weakened. The fatigue of a particular muscle is somewhat different, and results from the unaccustomed work it has been called upon to perform, because of the unusual amount of prana which has been directed toward contracting it. We have spoken so far only of the actual movements of the body, resulting from muscular contraction, proceeding from the current of prana directed to the muscle. There is another form of the using up of prana, and the consequent wear and tear upon the muscles, which is not so familiar to the minds of most of us. Those of our students who live in the cities will recognize our meaning when we compare the waste of prana to the waste of water occasioned by the failure to turn off the faucet, and the resulting trickling away of the water hour after hour. This is just what many of us are doing all the time. We are allowing prana to trickle away in a constant stream, with a consequent wear and tear upon our muscles and indeed upon the whole system, from the brain down. Our students are doubtless familiar with the axiom of psychology. Thought takes form in action. Our first impulse when we wish to do a thing is to make the muscular movement necessary to the accomplishment of the action proceeding from the thought. But we may be restrained from making the movement by another thought, which shows us the desirability of repressing the action. We may be inflamed with anger and may experience a desire to strike the person causing the anger. The thought is scarcely formed in our mind before the first steps towards striking are taken. But before the muscle fairly moves, our better judgment causes us to send a repressing impulse, all of this in the fraction of a second. And the opposite set of muscles holds back the action of the first set. The double action, ordering and countermanding, is performed so quickly that the mind cannot grasp any sense of motion. But nevertheless, the muscle had begun to quiver with the striking impulse by the time the restraining impulse operated the opposing set of muscles and held back the movement. This same principle, carried to still further refinements, causes a slight current of prana to the muscle and a consequent slight muscular contraction to follow many unrestrained thoughts, with a constant waste of prana and a perpetual wear and tear upon the nervous system and muscles. Many people have been excitable, irritable, emotional habit of mind constantly keep their nerves in action and their muscles tense by unrestrained and uncontrolled mental states. Thoughts take form in action, and a person of the temperament and habits just described is constantly allowing his thoughts to manifest in the currents sent to the muscles and the countermanding current immediately following. On the contrary, the person who has naturally or has cultivated a calm, controlled mind will have no such impulses with their accompanying results. He moves along well poised and well in hand, and does not allow his thoughts to run away with him. He is a master, not a slave. The custom of this attempt of the excitable thoughts to take form in action, and their repressing, often grows into a regular habit, becomes chronic, and the nerves and muscles of the person so afflicted are constantly under strain, the result being that there is a constant drain upon the vitality, or prana, of the entire system. Such people usually have a number of their muscles in a tense condition, which means that a constant, though not necessarily strong, current of prana is being poured out to them, and the nerves are constantly used, carrying the prana. We remember hearing the story of the good old woman who was taking a ride on the railroad to a nearby town. So rare was the pleasure to her, and so anxious was she to get to her destination, that she could not settle herself back into her seat, but on the contrary, sat on the edge of the seat, with her body well bent forward, during the whole 16 miles of the journey. She was mentally trying to help the train along by giving it a mental urge in the right direction. This old lady's thoughts were so firmly fixed upon her journey's end, that the thought took form in action, and caused a muscular contraction in place of the relaxation that she should have indulged in during the trip. Many of us are just as bad. We strain forward anxiously if we happen to be looking at an object, and in one way or another, we tense a number of our muscles all the time. We clench our fists, or frown, or close our lips tight, or bite our lips, or set our jaws together, or something else along the same line of expressing our mental states in physical action. All of this is waste. And so are the bad habits of beating the devil's tattoo on the table or arms of the chair, twirling the thumbs, wiggling the fingers, tapping on the floor with our toes, chewing gum, whittling sticks, biting lead pencils, and last but not least, rocking nervously to and fro on a rocking chair. All of these things, and many others too numerous to mention, are waste. Pure waste. Now that we understand something about muscular contraction, let us again take up the subject of the science of relaxation. In relaxation, there is practically no current of prana being poured out. There is always a small amount sent to the different parts of the body in health in order to maintain a normal condition, but this is a very small current compared to that sent out to contract a muscle. In relaxation, the muscles and nerves are at rest, and the prana is being stored up and conserved instead of being dissipated in reckless expenditures. Relaxation may be observed in young children and among the animals. Some adults have it, and mark you this, such individuals are always noted for their endurance, strength, vigor, and vitality. The lazy tramp is not an instance of relaxation. There is a great difference between relaxation and loaf. The former is a sensible rest between working efforts, the result being that the work is done better and with less effort. The latter is the result of a mental indisposition to work, and the consequent action or inaction resulting from such thought taking form. The person understanding relaxation and the conserving of energy accomplishes the best work. He uses a pound of effort to do a pound of work and does not waste, slop over, or allow his strength to trickle away. The average person not understanding the law uses up from 3 to 25 times the energy needed to do his work, be that work mental or physical. If you doubt this statement, watch the people with whom you come in contact and see how many waste motions they make and how many exaggerated movements they manifest. They have it themselves well in hand mentally, and the result is physical prodigality. In the Orient, with the yogi gurus or teachers have classes of chelas or students who receive their instruction not from books, but from the words of the teacher. Many object lessons from nature and illustrations are given in order that the idea may be associated in the mind of the student with some material object or living thing. The Hatha Yoga gurus, when teaching the lessons of relaxation, often direct their students' attention to the cat, or animals of the cat tribe, the panther or leopard being a favorite illustration in lands where these animals are found. Did you ever notice a cat in repose, resting? And have you ever watched a cat crouching before a mouse hole? In the latter case, do you recall how the cat crouched in an easy, graceful attitude, no muscular contraction, no tense attitude. A beautiful picture, intense vitality and repose, but ready for instant action. Still and motionless remains the animal. To all appearances it might be asleep or dead, but wait till it moves. Then like a flash of lightning it darts forward. The repose of the waiting cat, although absolutely devoid of movement or tense muscles, is a very live repose, a very different thing from laziness. And note the entire absence of quivering muscles, of nerves on edge, of beaded perspiration. The machinery of action is not strained with waiting. There is no waste motion or tension. All is in readiness. And when the moment of action comes, the prana is hurled into fresh muscles and untired nerves, and the action follows the thought like the spark from the electric machine. The Hatha yogis do well to use the cat family as an illustration of grace, vitality, and repose. In fact, there can be no great power of quick and effective action unless the ability to relax is also there. People who fidget, fret and fume and step up and down are not the people who do the best work. They wear themselves out before the hour of action arrives. The man who may be depended upon is the one who possesses calmness, the ability to relax, repose. But let not the fidgety person despair. Relaxation and repose may be cultivated and acquired, just as may be other desirable gifts. Thoughts take form in action, and actions react upon the mind. These two truths stand together, one is as true as the other. We have heard much of the influence of the mind over the body, but we must not forget that the body, or its attitudes and decisions, react upon the mind and influence mental states. We must remember these two truths in considering the question of relaxation. Much of the harmful and foolish practices and habits of muscular contraction are caused by mental states taking form in physical action. And on the other hand, many of our mental states have been produced or encouraged by the habits of physical carelessness. When we are angry, the emotion is apt to manifest in our clenching of the fist. And on the other hand, if we cultivate the habit of clenching the fists, frowning, drawing together the lips and assuming a scowl, we will be very apt to get the mind into such a condition that the least thing will plunge it into a spell of anger. You all know of the experiment of forcing a smile to the lips and eyes and maintaining it for a while, which generally results in making you feel smiling after a few minutes. One of the first steps toward preventing the harmful practices of muscular contraction, with its resulting waste of prana and wearing out of the nerves, is to cultivate a mental attitude of calm and repose. This may be done, but it will be hard work at first. But you will be well repaid for your trouble in the end. Mental poise and repose may be brought about by the eradication of worry and anger. Of course, fear really underlies both worry and anger. But as we are perhaps more familiar with the idea of worry and anger as being elementary mental states, we will so treat them. The yogi trains himself from youth to eradicate or inhibit both of these emotions, and the result is that after he has developed his full powers, he is absolutely serene and calm, and presents the appearance of power and strength. He creates the same impression that is conveyed by the mountain, the sea, or other manifestations of restrained force. One in his presence feels that there is indeed great strength and power in perfect repose. The yogi considers anger an unworthy emotion, natural in the lower animals and in savage man, but totally out of place in the developed man. He considers it a sort of temporary insanity and pities the man who loses his self-control sufficiently to fly into a rage. He knows that nothing is accomplished by it, and that it is a useless waste of energy and a positive energy to the brain and nervous system, besides being a weakening element in one's moral nature and spiritual growth. This does not mean that the yogi is a timid creature without any backbone. On the contrary, he does not know the existence of fear, and his calmness is instinctively felt to be the indication of strength, not weakness. Have you ever noticed that the men of the greatest strength are almost invariably free from bluster and threats? They leave that for those who are weak and wish to be thought strong. The yogi has also eradicated worry from his mental condition. He has learned to know that it is a foolish waste of energy, which results in no good and always works harm. He believes in earnest thought when problems have to be solved, obstacles surmounted, but he never descends to worry. He regards worry as a waste of energy and motion, and also as being unworthy of a developed man. He knows his own nature and powers too well to allow himself to worry. He has gradually emancipated himself from its curse and teaches his students that the freeing of oneself from anger and worry is the first step in practical yoga. While the controlling of the unworthy emotions of the lower nature really form a part of other branches of the yogi philosophy, it has a direct bearing upon the question of relaxation, inasmuch as it is a fact that one habitually free from anger and worry is correspondingly free from the principal causes of involuntary muscular contraction and nerve waste. The man possessed by anger has muscles on the strain from chronic involuntary impulses from the brain. The man who is wrapped in the folds of worry is constantly in a state of nervous strain and muscular contraction. So it will be readily seen that when one cuts himself loose from these weakening emotions, he, at the same time, frees himself from the greater part of muscular contraction, of which we have spoken. If he would be free from this great source of waste, manage to get rid of the emotions causing it. And on the other hand, the practice of relaxing, of avoiding the tense condition of the muscles in everyday life, will react upon the mind and will enable it to regain its normal poise and repose. It is a rule that works both ways. One of the first lessons in physical relaxation the Hatha yogis give to their pupils is given in the next paragraph. Before beginning, however, we wish to impress upon the mind of the student the keynote of the yogi practice of relaxation. It consists of two words: let go. If you master the meaning of these two words and are able to put them into practice, you have grasped the secret of yogi theory and practice of relaxation. The following is a favorite yogi exercise in relaxation. Lie down flat on the back. Relax as thoroughly as you can, letting go of all the muscles. Then, still relaxed, let your mind wander over the body from head to toe. In doing this, you will find that here and there are certain muscles still in a tense condition. Let go of them. If you do this thoroughly, you will end by having every muscle in the body fully relaxed and the nerves at rest. Take a few deep breaths, lying quietly and fully relaxed. You may vary this exercise by gently rolling over to one side, and again relaxing completely, and then rolling to the other and doing the same. This is not as easy as it appears at first reading, as you will realize from a few trials, but do not be discouraged. You will get better with practice. Try it again until you master the knack. While lying relaxed, carry in your mind that you are lying on a soft, downy couch and that your body and limbs are as heavy as lead. Repeat the words several times, slowly. Heavy as lead. Heavy as lead. At the same time, lifting the arms and then withdrawing the prana from them by ceasing to contract the muscles and allowing them to drop of their own weight to the sides. This is a hard thing to do for most persons at first. They are unable to let their arms drop of their own weight, so firmly has the habit of involuntary muscular contraction fastened itself upon them. After you have mastered the arms, try the legs, one at a time, then both together. Let them drop of their own weight and remain perfectly relaxed. Rest between trials and do not be strenuous in the exercise, as the idea is to rest yourself, as well as to acquire the control over the muscles. Then lift the head and allow it to drop in the same way. Then lie still and form the mental image of the couch or floor, bearing the entire weight of the body. You may laugh at this idea, believing that when you lie down, you always let the couch bear your weight, but you are mistaken. You will find that, in spite of yourself, you are endeavoring to support a part of your weight by tensing some of the muscles. You are trying to hold yourself up. Stop this and let the couch attend to this work for you. You are as foolish as the old woman who sat on the edge of the car seat and tried to help the train along. Take the sleeping child for your model. It allows its entire weight to rest on the bed. If you doubt this, look at the bed upon which a child has been sleeping and see the dents in it, the impress of its little body. If you find it difficult to catch the knack of this complete relaxation, it may help you to carry the mental image of being as limp as wet cloth. Limp all over from head to foot, lying loose and limp without a trace of stiffness. A little practice will soon work wonders with you, and you will arise from this resting exercise, much refreshed and feeling able to do your work well.